meeting to order for September the 19th, regular Common Council. If everyone would please rise for the invocation led by Mr. Samuel, followed by the pledge.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you for the weather and the nicety that brings to us. We pray that you would be with our national leaders as they are dealing with many things, and be with the election that's coming up, and pray for some civility to take place. Pray for our state leaders as well as those of us at the local level. We thank you for the good things that are happening in Jeffersonville, and we pray for your continued blessing on that. We pray for the children in this community and those that are less fortunate. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilperson White.
Present.
Councilperson Sestovny.
Here.
Councilperson Yan.
Present.
Councilperson Gill.
Here.
Council President Owen.
Here.
Councilperson Hawkins.
Here.
Councilperson Samuel.
Here.
Councilperson Rodriguez.
Present.
Let the record reflect 8 council members are present, 1 is absent.
And Mr. Maples said that he would be out of town for today's meeting. We'll excuse him this time. Minutes from the council regular proceedings on September 6th to be approved.
Make a motion to approve, sorry. Are you doing minutes or agenda? Minutes,
Oh,
yes. I'll make a motion to approve minutes from September 6th.
Second. Motion and second. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Minutes from the workshop, budget workshop on September the 9th.
Make a motion to approve minutes from September 9th.
Second.
Motion and second. Anything else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Approval of the agenda.
I got a call this afternoon by Mr. Ways with a request to table number 1 under unfinished business. So with making that amendment to the agenda, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's a motion and a second to approve the agenda with number 1 under unfinished business is tabled. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Claims. Right? Yes, claims. Oops.
We have a request from Mr. Samuel about removing the page 5. It's a $100 claim to
The very top one.
courts.
Yeah, it's the very top one. It's the lady that does our minutes for Public Art, and she was absent. I actually did the minutes, and there's no cost for that, so I think Ms. Spiker, just when she turned in her stuff, she did it out of habit for that, but we're just removing that $100.
If nobody has, anyway, I need to get on my soapbox here for a minute. And Scott, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. Went in Friday and went over claims. And once again, credit cards. Actually, in my opinion, the credit card situation is getting worse instead of better. There was credit cards that weren't checked out, but they were still used. There was claims on there that didn't have PO that were claimed, that ended up being a $1,000 claim. There was, of course, there's a fraudulent one on there that is being questioned and procedures being followed by that. But, I bring up about the credit cards. The 3 that I just mentioned here, I got the ordinance 2013 OR8, number 2 under that, under the whereases. All credit cards shall be kept under the care and control of the controller, and the controller shall be responsible for viewing that all documentations have been correctly submitted and that all state boards of account rules, sorry, I'm a lot of breath, I'm having a age. And procedures have been followed before payment is made over the credit card. Number 3, that all credit card purchases shall be processed through the controller's office via the use of the purchase order. The authorized department shall contact the controller's office to obtain the purchase order and the appropriate credit card number to make a purchase. And then also, number 5, that the appropriate department head or other city officials may receive temporary possession of a credit card for official city business from the Controller's Office by completing and signing the appropriate forms and documentation verifying the release of the credit cards. We have some purchases that, if they're not checking out a credit card, are they having our credit cards saved somewhere on whatever account, whatever it is, when you order some things, are they requesting that our information be saved? Or are they writing down our credit card number and using that? To me, that's unacceptable. It's in clear violation of this ordinance. I don't know how we're going to get this under control. One thing I do suggest is that we have our meeting sooner rather than later, and maybe we'll have something to bring back before the council by next meeting to amend this, to tighten it up.
Is there any enforcement or penalties associated with that ordinance?
I mean, and I remember when we wrote that ordinance, that was because of there was concerns with the state board of accounts. I remember I've met, and I don't know if Lisa, you were.
It's true.
We met the state board of accounts. That language was put in there after recommendation of state board of accounts about purchase orders and so forth, because there was a concern. We thought we had too loose of a policy on credit cards.
Well, I talked to the State Board of Accounts today because I was told that, once we pass it, then it's on us. And so I questioned that, in which her recommendation is, I won't be in support of the claims tonight, so somebody else will have to make a motion to approve them. But her recommendation as we move forward, whether it's credit card or any other claim, if they're not right and they're not following our ordinances, to pull them or not pay them. That was their recommendation.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Is this a communication issue? I mean, how are we going about, just obviously that the ordinance isn't being followed, but what have we done to?
There are claims, or I should say charges on the credit card that don't match with what we have signed out and approved a purchase order for. And then we send the bill out and say, who does this belong to? And some of that, like we did have one fraudulent charge on there that we're disputing, but there are others that other people kind of fess up to when the bill comes out. And so it's difficult to, or they get the credit card for a purchase of this dollar amount, and then they end up getting something completely different also.
Am I correct?
Sorry, go ahead.
You can go ahead and finish your
I was just
thought.
going to so obviously we know what fund it's coming out of, right? I mean, we would know it in terms of what we're...
Which departments, to
so we
some
can
extent.
at least communicate if there's departments that are, have...
And there are certain things, I think, that are on like a subscription type thing that it just adds to the credit card that's already on file. And some of those purchase orders are not necessarily being followed.
That was the case in any of the claims that I looked through. When people are traveling, they know they're traveling, they need to get a PO. And if you're getting one was a plane ticket or something for $1,000, this beforehand. And I know I've been bringing this up in several meetings. That's why I've been trying to get the credit card ordinance amended. I don't know how we're going to get this under control, but it was we at the council, if we're approving claims, and at the end of the day, then we'll be responsible for those claims approved, then I like for us all to work together and try to get a better job trying to get this under control.
Yeah, I know that there's a couple of my
because-
staff that's been working with you trying
Your
to
staff's been excellent.
figure out a better way to handle
In my
all of
opinion,
those.
though, when they're using a credit card and they're doing it the right way, that's a privilege of this city, just like driving a city vehicle or whatever. It's taxpayers' money, and when it's used irresponsible, I have no problem saying, writing an ordinance and saying we'll use credit cards for travel only, because I keep bringing it up. I've talked to department heads. I've tried everything to try to get this tightened up, but it just seems to me it's getting more loose than tightened up.
Yeah, it's not necessarily being used for emergency purposes or where some charges it used to be that, you'd pay for it and get reimbursed for it. And
Admittedly, I haven't looked through the ordinance in a while, but I was thinking there was a place in the ordinance that addressed credit cards that, or charges to a credit card that weren't properly approved. And
Falls on the department head, I do believe.
if a purchase was made that wasn't properly approved, then we can deny the claim until the proper paperwork or paper trail was complete and submitted, and then those charges that we get stuck with for paying a late fee would go on to that employee. I thought that was part of the
It's an
ordinance.
it
That's what I was gonna-
automatically gets taken out of our account at the first of the month.
So reality, if we don't approve any of these claims, they're already paid,
Correct.
what I thought.
And
But you can choose to have whoever it is reimburse for that.
This is really not a new issue. Really, ever since I've been on the council, the issue of credit cards has been an issue. And we tried to limit the number of credit cards. And then we found out in our meeting, because I participated in the meeting recently, that we have people from the city, I don't even know who people from the city are, but they're going and getting like Lowe's credit cards and Sam's credit card, or Sam's cards and Menards and all that. And they're able to open up these accounts without approval from the council anyway. I don't know about the mayor. The mayor may not even know about that.
This is all.
So yeah, I'm not blaming that. It's just an issue. And after sitting through the meeting that Lisa mentioned and as Heather commented, there were some, I wrote down some quotes from that some of the staff said. One of the quotes was, "It's out of control, purchases that shouldn't be paid for with a credit card. They're all in violation of the ordinance now. POs are being sought and received after the purchase is made."
Yes, that happens a lot.
And so there was a concern for them to try to get handle on it. So I appreciate Lisa bird dogging this actually, because we don't really see it all, or we can't get the whole picture just looking at claims. And I would support us trying to get with Scott, and we have a number of recommendations from the staff, from the finance department, and even the lady from, was she from DLGF?
State Board of
State Board of
Accounts.
Accounts. She came in and talked and gave recommendations. So I suspect we should
Maybe about a
try
month
to
ago.
put those in the ordinance and bring it back to you guys right away.
So you mentioned that is the biggest problem that there's not a PO before the purchase is made? Would you say that's the largest
I
issue?
wasn't in the meeting, so I'm not sure exactly what, I know that,
It's all over the place, just about not getting the purchase orders, getting the right receipts. You don't have clearly, the detailed receipts. You have some that don't have any documentation at all, and then you have the staff that, I brought it up in several meetings that I don't understand why they're not, when they check out that credit card, when they're handing that back in, why they're not turning in our documentation, their receipts, or whatever it is, whether it's from an airline or for food or whatever. I don't understand, they're not turning in the proper documentation, getting them in, so they're...
Lisa, if you recall in the meeting, the other issue was they're writing the number down and keeping it.
That was issue on 3 or 4 claims this time. The cards weren't even checked out.
I mean, we have to approve a legal claim, but if it's not a legal claim, we don't have to approve it. So why don't we just take these out and not approve it?
But if they're,
It's going to come out of our account. That's the problem.
It probably already has come out of
Or
it.
may already have.
yes. But we can have the department head reimburse for those charges, if that's what you choose.
What, I guess, I will take it back. I mean, you have a month bill service. But, and I've said this repeatedly over the past 15 years, that things in life, we've had this problem. It's not just department heads. I don't understand how a claim can even get on that list if it's not been properly submitted with the documentation that's required and so forth.
That's my
The departments are entering their own claims,
Well,
and then it gets to us
I'll
afterwards.
deal with this tomorrow.
I'm sorry.
I've about had enough of hearing about credit cards. They need to go to, we'll deal with it.
Thank you.
They should never even be on that
Check out the
list.
travel
I mean,
credit card.
In the real world,
Going to
in the real world, where some of us spend some time. First of all, in the real world, if you use your own credit card, you get reimbursed, right?
Absolutely.
But if you're gonna be at a city credit card, there's certain things that need to be submitted with the claim. It's simple, it's a receipt, it's a PO, and all this stuff, it's you just check it off. And if it's not checked off, it doesn't get on that claim list.
Even the automatic subscriptions, I mean, I get the convenience of it, but I mean, if we're having all these automatic subscriptions come out without any purchase orders or anything every month, then I think that should be something that we address, whether it's in the ordinance, a reform ordinance, because I think that, I mean, you can't just have automatic payments coming out with no documentation to support those.
But like, I think Les has one that he, like Lexus, in LexisNexis or Lexus, the one that you had, the subscription that comes out automatically each month, then does it go on the credit card? That one doesn't, okay.
Oh, I don't think that.
I don't know, but I was just saying, like, for him, he has to have that for the Department of Law.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know when the bill is going to be due. I mean, and then you go through the document. But.
I mean, that's the
Well-
only subscription I was going to talk
But
about.
I think Scott makes a valid point. I mean, I'm not sure, because again, after 15, 20 years of doing this, there's always a knee-jerk reaction that we need to pass an ordinance, amend an ordinance. I think you've got an ordinance in front of you that it addresses these concerns. It's just,
I thought the current ordinance was pretty on point, and that was language given us by state board of accounts. I mean, I think it covers everything we're talking about, it's just not being enforced or followed.
So how do you
but I
enforce
mean, we'll address this tomorrow, Wednesday with.
So,
it? So who
you know,
enforces this guy? Who enforces the ordinance?
I mean, technically, the department heads, I mean, technically, the way it's written in the finance
Yeah.
office, I mean, I'm not trying to cast aspersion, but
No, I
it's a
understand.
combination of department heads who have the cards or are using it, they have to submit the proper documentation, and then technically it's kind of submitted to finance, and that has to be all clear before it comes to us as a final claim, and that's where the ordinance is written. And like I say, it wasn't something that we invented, that's language that was given to us. I was there in a meeting with state board of accounts, they basically said, this is language you need in the ordinance. That's what
Credit
it
cards
was.
for emergency situations or
No.
just travel?
For anything,
Or anything.
For anything?
just because you want one.
Well, that's
'Cause
not
it's easy.
necessarily a good thing.
Well, I think that's another thing we talked about that in that meeting. We have a credit card ordinance, and then we have a travel ordinance, and they kind of conflict each other, so we were wanting to bring them in line.
so I think the biggest thing that we're looking for is some backup on enforcement.
Yes.
It sounds like we're going to get that moving forward, and if not, then I think we'll,
Do we have a form, like, I don't use the credit card. I mean, is there a form, like, I use the credit card, that
if not, I think
Well,
the rest of us.
the process is to get a purchase order,
Fix it,
and
we need to
then
make some changes.
when you check out the card, there's a list, of everyone who checks it out, the date, the time, who it was, and then what the purchase order number is, so that they all match, and then when they,
documentation, I mean, do I fill out a form and I submit it back with the receipt, with the information that the office requires?
that would be on the claim.
I think what's happening is they're being processed and the department head is not actually signing them or going through them, the credit cards. I think some of them are being stamped and stuff, so. I mean,
Two things. I think that, if I'm understanding this correctly, which I think I have a grasp on it now, I think that passing or messing with another ordinance isn't the issue. The issue is they're not following the ordinance that's already been given. And it sounds to me like in some of these cases, it goes beyond this ordinance. They're committing fraud. If you're writing down a credit card number and then using it later without the explicit permission of the person that possesses the card, which is the city of Jeffersonville, you are committing fraud. You're not turning in an invalid claim and have to pay the late fee you are committing a felony when you do that. So I think some of this may be going beyond the scope of kind of what we maybe originally were talking about. I don't know how often that happens. I mean, I have no insights as to how often that's happening. But I think that needs to be made clear to the people using them as well. If you're writing down someone else's credit card number and then using it without their permission, you are committing fraud. So I think that probably needs to be kind of set in stone somewhere as well.
Scott, you said that you feel that this ordinance is adequately,
I mean, like, I was not at this recent meeting, so I don't know what was said at this recent meeting. I think that's when I was on vacation out of the country at that meeting. So I don't know if there's new standards by the State Board of Accounts, but the ordinance that was done, I think the one you're quoting, I thought that addressed it pretty clear.
Well, let me give you an example that
Well,
was,
there's no repercussions, there's no,
In the interest of moving forward, because this sounds like it could be a lengthy discussion that has already encompassed another meeting outside of this one. Do we want to remove these claims or go ahead and keep them on and move on with, since they're coming out?
they've already been paid,
It's a-
most of them, or they've already been,
Yes, it's already been taken out of our account.
At the first of the month.
Mhm.
So
How will you track what's already been spent and who spent it? You said that if there was a late fee.
No, there's no late fees because they automatically take it out of our account. Yeah.
yeah, just some education on that. Before the council approved, it said go ahead and pay the claim or the credit card payment when it's due. The finance department was trying to go around and collect all the receipts later. And by the time they finally get the receipts in, the bill might be past due. And so then the city was incurring some significant late fees. And we said, wait a minute. And I think the request was made, well, we know we're going to pay it, can we pay it up front, and then we'll go back and collect, or we'll do make sure and get it all together. And so that's kind of how it got set up like this. It saves on the late fees, but it's probably not a good setup. I was just going to say that I appreciate the administration saying it'll be resolved. But one of the things that I heard in the meeting from the folks that work in the finance department, they said that there's some of the city employees said, well, there's a little bit of a lack of clarity on the purchase orders. It doesn't say you have to get a purchase order before you purchase it. And so they think it's okay to purchase it and then go get a PO. They said it's not in the ordinance. So, I mean, there's some parsing of some of the stuff. And I suspect if Mr. Merkley uses his fervor, then it'll get...
Depends on your definition of purchase order.
Little Bill Clinton language, right?
Yeah.
all right, so.
were there any other questions or comments on claims?
I do have a question about that. Does it make a statement if we vote to remove the credit card payment, and then it's going to be paid, but then that gives the administration impetus to say, look, they're not paying it, or they're not voting to pay it, therefore we got to make a significant change. I don't know.
Or are we,
Where are we legally if we don't approve a claim that?
It's already paid.
The only problem that I see with that necessarily is that I have money coming out of the bank account that I don't have charge for on my ledger.
it's certainly,
And the problem you have, ordinance, no ordinance and all this, I mean, you're agreeing with the credit card company, it's not. And they, at the end of the day, I don't think they really care whether you have an ordinance there or not.
it's a charge.
You agreed to take their card, use it, and you agreed to pay it.
I agree with that.
Unless you somehow, a charge was on there like fraudulent.
Yeah.
You know, then you can dispute it.
And I agree with that, so like the recourse technically, it's in the current ordinance, because this was language under the New York State law, that if the department head or whoever's using the credit card used it inappropriately, didn't follow procedures, then the ordinance says the city can collect that money back from that department head who used it inappropriately or didn't follow procedures or whatnot. So you kind of like have paid a claim, and then you go back against the individual That's the reports.
It'd be like telling a credit card company that your spouse didn't have any authorization.
Shame on her.
On the ones that you have questions about, do you want me to go back to the department heads and try and get reimbursed for those?
In an effort to go forward, I'd make a suggestion we go ahead and approve these claims, and no future claims like this be approved. And this is the shot across the bow saying, we're not going to do it again. So hopefully the administration will be able to fix it, correct it before the next claims report comes out. This is my suggestion.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I'll second it.
There's a
Do
motion
you
and
want a
second.
new claims number?
Oh, minus the $100, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 1,568,918.68.
Say that again?
1,568,918.68.
There's a motion and a second to approve with the one removal Mr. Samuel had asked for. Anything further? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Mr. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
It's my turn anyway.
Okay. Report of the clerk.
Real quick, since we have tabled number 1 again, can we go ahead and assign it a number at least?
Yeah. Sure.
And then that way,
We will pass that because we have to pass it
Yeah.
statutorily. What number would you like to?
let's make it number 17.
17?
Just so I can have it on here.
Okay. Anything else?
The only other thing is the, as y'all are aware of, the transfer funds within the same department. I had talked to a couple of y'all. What had happened is, and I can tell you then or I can tell you now, the credit card bill, the property casualty and workman's comp, we're a little bit low in the workman's comp again. But the good news is, I think this is the first time in years that our payment that we make that was on this claims list is the last payment for the property and casualty and workman's comp for this year. So I think we have paid out around $433,000 in workman's comp. But we will have no more. I double-checked with Travelers. This is the last claim, so you should not be going through this again.
Good deal. Anything else? Okay. Unfinished business, number 2, Heather Metcalf. We're going to have a public hearing for 2016 OR 57, which is an additional appropriation.
There's been no changes since the last meeting.
This time, we're going to open a public hearing. Is there anybody to speak for or against the ordinance? Mr. Crum, are you speaking for or against?
No, he's just grabbing us.
Just moving? At this time, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass 2016 OR 57 on third and final.
The motion and second. Anything further? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Ms. Metcalf again, 2016 OR 58,
Yep,
transfer
this is
ordinance.
Transfer ordinance, and it has not changed since last time. But I can tell you that we're going to need to add to the pool staff again. So that will be on the next meeting.
Okay, can we get a reason why?
No, but I will.
Okay. So I'll make,
And we have scheduled a joint meeting with Parks next week also. So that's a possible time we can try to get a little clarity on that too. I'm not sure.
I'll make a motion to pass 2016 OR 58 third and final.
Second. Motion and second. Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. New business. I do not see Jeff Fry. Is anybody here to represent the Fire Merit Board?
No, I can tell you what it's about, but,
I'm sorry?
yes, he did. He was the one that asked me to put him on the agenda.
No, she said she didn't know what he needed.
Oh, I know
Needed.
what,
Ms. Barrow is on the
About
merit
the
board
pay.
also, but
Make a motion to table number 1.
Second.
there's a motion and a second to table. Anything further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Andy Crouch, sidewalk master plan update.
Awesome.
Something a little more happy.
Oh, look at that nice PowerPoint.
I'm here to present a, not necessarily just sidewalk master plan update, but I'm calling it a proposed traffic and mobility projects update for 2016. I've been asked lately, what's the plan? I think the council has set aside $500,000 out of edit funds for transportation-related sidewalk projects. I think it specifically stated as sidewalk project at the time. I'm going to present some various projects and then ask us to have a discussion about that and maybe modify the appropriation accordingly. We're looking at sidewalk design and construction. We're looking at traffic detection improvements. We're looking at pedestrian crossing signal installations, and we're looking at intersection improvements. Specifically for sidewalks in Steeplechase, we're looking at a sidewalk along Sundancer from Utica-Sellersburg Road up to New Chapel, and then on New Chapel from Sundancer on up to Carrie Ann Way. We're seeing a lot of vehicular traffic on that road. It's a cut through. People are using it to go through Stony Brook out to Carrie Ann Way, especially with the new signal there, and with the new signal at Carrie Ann and US 62. We're seeing a lot more traffic coming through that way again. They're avoiding the Utica-Sellersburg and US 62 intersection. It backs up quite a bit, as we all know. Because of the additional vehicular traffic, we're trying to get the pedestrians in that area off the road.
On Sundancer, or is it just one side?
We would be one side on Sundancer,
And on New Chapel as well?
one side on New Chapel as well. I've got a map up showing it. Don't pay attention to which side of the road that the red line is on. I was trying to avoid the name of the road. But yes, from Utica-Sellersburg Road up along Sundancer, on out to New Chapel, and then along New Chapel up to Stony Brook or Carrie Ann Way.
Well, I just want to add to that, Ann, if you don't mind, for the new members of the council. This was one of the projects that I believe, well, Mo Major Lynch was here. Police backed this as a public safety issue for Sundancer, and Hopkins was another one because of the walkability and the traffic and all that. So this is one that came from the police department that they would like to see done.
I'm typically asked, so I'll tell you, this project is not on the master plan. We have a master plan from 2010. The addition of all the project and work going on in the area, additional traffic through this area, River Ridge particularly, from 2010 wasn't expected at that time, but we're seeing all those traffic issues now, so we've added this one to our plan.
It's very busy. I'm a witness to this. I'm sure when you're knocking doors as well, that it's a very busy road with fast cars just kind of zipping through the neighborhood. So I'm happy to see it on the plan.
Well, New Chapel, it's not a matter of if somebody's going to get hit, it's when.
When,
And
yeah.
New Chapel is very narrow and very fast, and a lot of people use it on bikes and walking.
They do.
I'm not sure what other projects you have on there, but I'm going to say my 2 cents
Sure.
about the master plan. There's a lot of need when it comes to pedestrian walkways and bike lanes to travel on the city. And we do, but there is one part of that master plan, and I hope that you get to it, but you may not, but it's a Plank Road, and it's been part of the master plan from 2010, 2008 or 9 when we start putting the plan together, that still hasn't been addressed. So I know we could keep seeing the new need, and we can justify a lot of needs when it comes to safe pedestrian travel. But there's some, I guess, we go back to master plans, if we can knock them out and identify them, I hope we just don't bypass some of the old concerns, because they still are major concerns, and that's one of them on Plank Road.
Understood. On Sundancer, I just took a few pictures. Should be fairly simple. We've got plenty of right-of-way for the most part, plenty of relatively flat ground to put sidewalk on. Shouldn't be a problem. New Chapel's a little bit more difficult. There's some, I don't have pictures of that, but there's some utilities and things in the way. There's some steeper grades there that we're going to have to work through. So with that, through Steeplechase on New Chapel, we're going to start construction within the next month or so on Sundancer. We're ready to go on that. But we're going to start design on New Chapel on that portion this fall. We'll probably consult that out, contract that out, the design. We'll complete the construction on New Chapel in the spring of 2017.
Andy, let me
Go ahead.
ask about that one. When we were planning, I believe it was last year, to do some sidewalks up in the 6th District, some of the residents came out in force saying, no, we don't want them. The people on Sundancer, do they even know this is coming?
We have talked with some residents on Sundancer, and they were for it. We are having a neighborhood meeting with them next week.
Perfect, thank you.
And will the sidewalks on Sundancer be in what is currently the street, or are there going to be mailboxes taken out and it's going to be in the right-of-way, or are they going to be just like cut? Because Sundancer's a pretty wide, it's a 3-lane wide road.
So we're looking at going, if I can get this to work. You've got the edge of pavement here, and right in this area you see a dark stripe that's a little drainage swale. We're looking at going in between the drainage swale and the edge of pavement.
But there would be grass on both sides of the sidewalk.
Correct.
And we would not need to.
We typically push sidewalk out where the outside of the sidewalk is within a foot of the right-of-way. Any more questions? Okay, so like I said, we're going to start construction on Sundancer soon, given the neighborhood meeting. Design on New Chapel will get underway, and then we'll complete construction on New Chapel once the design is done in the spring. Hopkins Lane is on the master plan. That project's one of the last remaining suggestions. It is not the last remaining suggestion in the 2010 sidewalk master plan that's yet to be constructed. It'd run from 8th Street all the way to Utica Pike on one side of the road, and the design and acquisition would be this fall and winter, with construction starting in spring of 2017. This is the page from the master plan. I understand it's difficult to read with the aerial and the project, but it is on one side of the road. This was conceptual, just a conceptual plan from 2010, with 8th Street at the top of the page and Utica Pike at the bottom.
So the entirety of the sidewalk would be on one side of the road? We're not going to skip back and forth?
We would have sidewalk on a single side of the road. Depending on where utilities and things are, sometimes we have to flip that back and forth, and we put appropriate crosswalks in at that location to move it back and forth, but there would not be sidewalks on both sides of the road. It would be on one side or the other.
Okay.
Does that make?
Yeah, but there will be instances where we have to flip-flop.
There could be instances where we have to flip-flop. I'm not saying that
Not
there are.
that far along yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
8th Street, looking at traffic improvements on 8th Street. We're looking at adding traffic detection hardware to signals at Penn, at Main, at the Crestview Court and Nahan Lane intersection, at the Briscoe and Morris intersection, at the Springdale and Chippewa intersection, as well as the Ewing Lane intersection. I've had a conversation with a few of you, actually, and I don't know if you all got together and were thinking about this and you all called me, or if this was separate, but about changing some lights on major thoroughfares like 8th Street in town to flashing reds and flashing yellows at certain times of the night. When there's low traffic situations, let's make, say 8th Street, all of them flashing yellow on 8th and all the side streets flashing red. I'm not in favor of that for some safety issues, but what we're looking at doing here is putting traffic detection not on all 4 legs of an intersection, but on the 2 legs that are the side streets. And you would have green on 8th Street all the time. So as long as there wasn't a vehicle of some kind on one of these side streets off of 8th Street, it would be green. I think that covers the concerns that I was getting from quite a few people. I've had a few people, I think I brought this up a couple years ago when people started seeing these why are there cameras mounted on our traffic signals? These are what we're talking about when we're talking about traffic detection. They are cameras, but not in the same sense that you're used to seeing. They give us an image that look a lot like this. We don't record these images. If you bust open the traffic control box where all the equipment's tied to, you won't see a screen in there showing this. We have to physically take a laptop to it to get an image up like this while it's operating. But what this allows the computer to do is we can literally draw these boxes in certain areas of the roadway. We mount the camera, we tell the computer where the road is, we tell it where the cars should be coming, and when it starts to detect something inside that box, it knows. It operates much like the loops you've seen that are buried in the asphalt. Loops get torn out when other utilities come through. They get torn out whenever you repave. We like getting them up. Gives us a little more flexibility too. We're looking at adding pedestrian signals, Middle Road and Allison Lane. We've got sidewalks along Middle Road now. We've got sidewalks going down Allison Lane. We have a park there at Allison Brook. We want pedestrian signals at Middle Road and Allison Lane. We'd also like to see pedestrian signals at Spring and Market,
I was going to bring that one up.
the downtown
Now,
area.
you're saying pedestrian signals. Are you talking about the ones that are automatic glow or the ones that where somebody's there, they can push a signal to?
We're talking about a button. If you've seen some work going on in front of the hospital on Spring and 12th recently, we just did that. That's where these pictures are from. So you'd have a button like you're seeing here that would be crossing. It actually is audible. It says don't walk, walk now. It has a countdown. That one, they're hard to read. That one says 11. I believe that one says 9. Got for don't walk versus walk. There's an audible beep letting people know, makes them ADA compliant. Court Avenue and Spring. There was a vehicle accident there that knocked one of the poles down back, it may have been late last year, earlier this year. It's currently operational. If you drive through there's one signal head instead of two. I'm a nerdy guy that notices those things. Some people don't. Yeah. There's currently one signal head. There needs to be two there for some redundancy in case the light goes out. We need to get that fixed. But while we're at it, we want to add left turn lanes for the north and southbound traffic lanes. If you're coming through there during rush hour, especially in the morning, it's really bad. They're coming off of Market, coming up Spring, and it can get a little gnarly through there. So we want to put left turn lanes in. To do that, it's going to take some reworking the pavement lines. We may lose a couple of parking spaces there on either side of the road to make that, to get it wider, to get a left turn lane in. But we feel like it's very justified and worth it. We're going to use a combination of, or proposing to use a combination of edit funds there, which is what we're all talking about, all the rest of these projects are coming from, as well as we got about $40,000 to $45,000 worth of insurance out of the knockdown. A combination of those funds to redo that intersection. Looking at cost estimates for the Sundancer construction and the new chapel design this year, looking at $115,000. For the Hopkins Lane design and acquisition, looking at $65,000. 8th Street traffic detection for all of those intersections, looking at $180,000. For the two intersections adding pedestrian signals, we're looking at $90,000. That seems high, I know. We pulled that off the cost, the actual cost that we did at 12th and Spring, which came out to around $50,000 each. For that intersection, rather. Spring and Court improvements, we're looking at $40,000. That's out of edit funds. We take the insurance money and add to that to complete it, with a total for 2016 edit funds of $490,000.
Good, 'cause you had 500,000.
I know, we're right there. So rolling into 2017, because we talked about some of the construction tonight, rolling into 2017, we would anticipating about $120,000 on New Chapel for the construction of those sidewalks, and about $260,000 on Hopkins Lane. It's a long way. With 2017 edit funds totaling $380,000.
Question, did we include the 500 again in our budget?
Yeah, it's in there.
Could there be a possibility, because I know with the redevelopment just did from Middle Road to Utica Pike, and to their surprise, it came in a whole lot less for sidewalks. Could that be a possibility for the Hopkins?
I would,
They went from Middle Road to, like we're doing Middle, 8th Street to Utica Pike.
there's a couple of things going on there. We did have a better price. We have been seeing much higher prices on bids over the last couple of years. I think with all the other construction going on in the area, it's taken up a lot of the workforce, and honestly, it's taken up a lot of the material too. Hoping after the first of the year, a lot of that really dies down. And we're anticipating to get some much better bids after the first of the year. With that in mind, we're working on cost estimates from 2010 from the master plan. So we've tried to adjust for both of those, and I've bumped all of them up a little bit higher just to make sure that we've got enough money in the budget.
When are you looking at doing those pedestrian signals? Because I think that needs to be done so much sooner rather than later from my visits downtown.
This year.
I'm sure Dustin can speak to it, especially that Spring Street and Market, with all the activities we have going on downtown. It scares me.
This year.
Yes,
Those will be
good.
this year, this fall. One of the reasons we have not done that yet is because the way the edit funds were structured in my budget, they're specifically listed for sidewalks. We're wanting to do some other things. I've talked with some of you, you're wanting to do some other things with that money, but my hands are a little bit tied. I don't like to move out of that. So we want to talk about moving that. I'm not sure how that's set up, but it's currently kind of earmarked for sidewalks.
So the budget line item says sidewalks. I believe all we need to do is basically have a motion that can be recorded in the minutes to say that you have permission to use that sidewalk money for these 8th Street pedestrian projects and downtown projects, the intersections that you listed.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second, but I like to answer something else. Love the projects, absolutely love the projects, and they're needed. In 2017, you don't use the whole 200 or 500,000. Is there any way to, I'm still working to try to get this Plank Road
Yeah, I was gonna
in there.
ask if
Can
we
we at
could
least
get a
put the
cost
planning
estimate.
in there and put a number, or?
I think
land
we
acquisition,
could
put
work
in-
on that.
Well, can you put it on there? Because once it's written and it's part of the plan, I think it'll move forward, but it seems like it's not.
I was
part of
going
the plan.
to say that too, or something similar, Ed, but looks like you're going to have 10,000 left this year. Can you bind 10,000 of that
Into,
to start the
I hope
planning?
I have 10,000. I mean, we're tight. I don't like to present these projects bumping up that close to, quite honestly, to a $500,000 appropriation. I hope I have 10,000 left over. That's what we're anticipating. I hope I'm not back here in the end of November saying I need another $5,000 to make all this happen. It's close.
Well, if you do, can you talk to the engineers and say, we want to start the Plank Road, even if it's just opening a file with Plank Road for 2017? Because I agree, that was one of the ones that we
Ritual.
identified that was critical.
What,
They need that.
has there been, because that was my district when I first ran, and then it was switched over to you. And I went back on my notes, and the ones that live there, and then when I walked it again with the whole bus depot, I think you're going to have a divide of who wants them and who doesn't want them on Plank Road, because they were very vocal about that.
But the road is so narrow,
I
and
know,
you see, there's
I
so many
know.
people who live in those apartments and the mobile home park, and they walk to catch the buses to go to work, I mean, or ride their bikes to work, and it's just dangerous. I mean, there's just no
Heads up
room.
that some of them were very vocal, they didn't want it going through their yards.
And I think
so-
One thing, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say the administration's been really great with all these improvements and scheduling, neighborhood meetings and knocking on doors and sending out flyers too, to make sure that we have constituent approval. I've been a witness to that, at least in the 3rd district.
They could even be on the side that doesn't have any residences. It could be on the side of where the Clark County Auto Auction was, and the mobile homes park and the apartments are.
I'll get a price from a consultant to start the design on that.
If you could just put it down somewhere so at least we're moving forward with it.
Write it on a Post-it.
Sounds
Got
like
it.
he is on Hopkins.
It's right here.
Every year.
To-do list.
Well, before Mr. Crouch sits down, we can do the vote on this if we want, but I want to talk to him about, we talked about when we do long stretches of new sidewalk, not an existing replacement, new sidewalk, looking at adding maybe a 6 by 6 square pad when they pour the sidewalk, with potential template for a bolt pattern that would handle what we're looking to do in the future is movable art across the city, where we may leave, I'll just say a statue. It's just, I'm talking about artwork or something where we can, if we had 10 or 12 of those around the city, we could rotate those every 6 months, and everybody would feel like they have something new. That's one of the things we talked about. Second thing is, if there's a long stretch where we wouldn't put it in somebody's front yard, but where there needs to be a City of Jeff bench, put it there, and maybe a trash can. And when I spoke with Andy before, we'd come up with approximately, it was between $1,500 and $1,800 for the equipment of that, meaning the bench and the trash can and the bolts for the art. Can you just say something about the cost for the concretes?
You're talking a 6 by 6 slab. We're getting concrete at, I want to say it's $6 to $7 a square foot, 36 square feet. It's not a lot of money to put a pad in and drop the anchor bolts in for a piece of artwork. I think you want to, in some way, standardize. If you're going to move art around, we're going to need to standardize what that mounting system looks like. We'd have to let any of the artists know it's got to fit on this type of system. But other than that, it's fairly simple. I think you're going to get some pushback, such as along Sundancer. I don't know. Maybe people would love it there, and maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they'd like a bench, but that'd be up to the residents.
Nathan, just FYI, Thursday after sewer board, because, Richard's not here tonight, but he's really been about the trash cans and the benches. I remember we got there was either grant, it was just a small grant, and it was just specifically for Spring Street. It was kind of thrown in with something for benches, and it had to be along Spring Street. So she's going to keep her eye open for grants or possible something that we can tie into with another grant or something for that.
I've mentioned that with the Allison Lane sidewalk project as well, since I came under budget, looking at if there's some areas along that stretch, since there are, the Dollar General and there's places that people are walking to, of making sure there are adequate benches.
Sure, okay.
Trash cans.
Andy, can you send us a copy of your presentation?
The conversation I'd had with the city clerk would be that I'd make a PDF of this once I was done, and she would put it in the minutes and can disperse it out.
Oh, thank you.
Good deal.
I might have changed my mind.
Oh, you want to? That is the conversation that we had.
Yeah, what I'll do is he's going to send it to me in a PDF, and I'll send it out to you.
If you like the PowerPoint, I can send it that way too, however you want it. Yeah.
We do have a motion. I just wanted to say that I appreciate all your work on this. I think it's the right time to do. It's long overdue on 8th Street, but we need to do it now before 10th Street construction starts. We're going to see a lot more traffic, I think, on 8th.
Great.
Anything further? There was a motion in the second to approve the plan as presented, I believe. Well, that was the motion.
Yeah, to incorporate the edit dollars can be used for those traffic signals.
I probably need to come to you soon. I'll get with Heather. I think there's some the insurance money I was talking about, the 40 to 45. I don't think it's
Probably
actually appropriated. I'm not sure how that process works, to be honest. We'll figure that out, and I may have to be back in front of you for that, but I'll figure that out.
Anything further? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for your
Andy.
presentation, Andy.
Yes. Yes. Ed Z.
Yeah, this is Mr. Lincoln Crum. Yeah, about a year ago when the city council was the Parks Authority, we contracted with Lincoln Crum to do some work related to parks and trying to put a parks app together. There were so many things going on in the Parks Department with Visiting Park being completed, Big Forestation, Worley Park, that we wanted to, and we are expanding what was going on at River Stage, that we wanted to have some social media exposure. We wanted to look at putting an app together, as well as putting together a 30-second commercial to focus on and promote the quality of life of parks in Jeffersonville. And that's something that I know at that time we talked to River Ridge, that they thought that they might even use that as a promotion as they tried to get other businesses to move here. And in that regard, I think Mr. Crum has finished that work and he wanted to show that work off.
I only need probably 15 minutes of your time this evening.
Hold on just a second.
Oh,
One more.
do you got to put one more? Is it the DOC cam? One. Nope.
Nope.
No, it's, no.
Don't let the media god take
Just
care of
did
it.
it. There it is. First off, thank you for letting me present tonight. A lot of you all know me as a realtor and auctioneer. I do two things in our community. I sell real estate and auctions, and I do YouTube videos. I tell stories about people here in our local community. I started doing YouTube videos back in 2009 when the real estate market was terrible, and it was really tough to make a living. And I decided to turn on a video camera and start talking about how awesome Jeffersonville is. And that kind of expanded to Clark County and southern Indiana, and now we do work in Louisville. But it's exciting for me because this was a huge undertaking for us and our little video production company that's based in Jeffersonville on Wall Street. And I believe that it's the largest video production project that the city has ever done. And we did it in a little more than 12 months. We completed a video project. I've got 5 videos in the app that I want to show you. But we created a video for every park in the city. As per the direction, we sat down with Paul and Sarah at the Parks office. They were fantastic to deal with the entire time and said, these are the parks that we want filmed. So we went through and we filmed all them. We also did some extra videos promoting some other events and some other things. We did a commercial, which I'll show you first. And then we did a really cool app that I'm the most excited to share with you all. So bear with me. See if we can get this to work. So no sound. We want sound, don't we? And that may be, Vicki, that may be me. Actually, hold on. That may be me. Let's see if this works. I get it, I promise. No sound. And sound is, what if I did this?
Oh.
Look, I can't touch this. Oh, I touched the microphone. I was told there's one thing you can't do tonight is touch the microphone.
Well, and
Get
everything
right
in your
for
head.
it. Since we were in the third grade, Les. While you do that, can I show you all the app? It's on both the Apple Store and it's also on the Google Play Store. If you don't have it, I recommend you get it. It's really awesome. And
Oh, it came up.
when you click on it,
Shows all the.
it pulls up all of the parks.
Cool.
And then it also pulls up all of the amenities.
Touch it and it
And you'll
tells you
see in the
which one to
videos that
use.
the amenities are cross-referenced to the parks. And so if you want to just click on parks, that gives you a map and it shows you every park in the city. And then you click on one of those little buttons and it'll like Worley Athletics, so you click on that and it will give you directions to it. Or, the best part, if you just want to go regular park-wise, all of the parks are listed here. And so if we go to the, like this one, the Richard B. Wathen Park, it gives you the address, and it will also show it on a map. There you go. Shows on the map with directions, the amenities. You click, and it takes you directly to the video that we produced for it, and the history of the park, the city council person that park's district is in, any information about shelter reservation, hours, and then at the very end of the app, is the direct Facebook feed, the video feed, and also About Us feed. So I live downtown, we work downtown.
What's the name of the app?
Jeff Parks.
Jeff Parks.
Let me try a different video to make sure that works. If it doesn't, then
We have it on.
I had a hard time getting, I'm not on the Wi-Fi, I guess.
so.
Well, I am, and it's still not.
I can just do this when we do it and do the microphone up by the speaker, but I sure don't want to touch the
I don't want you
microphone.
touching the microphone.
All right, so we'll do that. So let's watch a video.
Where's the speaker?
It's right up here. And here's the 30-second that we did that just kind of highlights. I touched it. There it is. Well, that takes away from the impact, so we're not going to worry about that. So I got a solution because everybody's working late. So like this one, you can see, we're not going to worry about the music right now. We did an overview in 30 seconds. This is formatted. You can use it for TV, for social media, wherever you want. But we just really wanted to get to the point of 30 seconds as much about Jeff and its livability. That was really our big thing that we wanted to accomplish with this project, was to show the livability of the city. Here is one. We're not going to worry about music and sound. Here's one we did for Vissing Park, and if you notice the icon that are at the bottom of each one, the swings, the picnic tables, those correspond with the icons in the app. And we used a local company to build the app for us and work together with them, Christina Stubblefield at Southern Indiana Media Group. They were the third contractor that we used actually for the app. The first two were not local. We tried local first, and it just didn't work at that stage, and ended up working together with Christina at the very end, and she was fabulous. So I was real excited about the way the footage turned out, the way the parks always looked. We operate 2 drones, so we came in and we would fly and capture the highlights of the parks, as well as if there are any markers like that. Thank goodness we shot this before the graffiti that just happened. Made me sick when I saw that. But I'm real proud of our park system here in our city, and it was cool to be able to document each one. And I learned things about parks that I didn't know, and I've lived here longer than most everybody in the room. So it was pretty cool to see that and to discover new things. Then we also covered quite a few events. This is one. The music for this video is my favorite, of course. Isn't that the way it would be? But this is one that we did for Jeff Goes Country last year. The shots are, I think they really, you don't need the music. I mean, they're just really cool. And one of the things that we like to do is use text that is not the same for every video, because that kind of takes away from the monotony of it. When we finished this project, we turned over a hard drive with all of the video, not only the finished videos, but all of the raw footage. I think that it's imperative that you somehow figure out a way to continue to share the park videos through a social media effort campaign. I don't know how you do that. I have an idea how to do that. Our contract, I want to be real clear. Our contract was for one time frame specifically. It was not a renewable contract. It was not one that we were going to do and then hope that we'll just keep doing it. That's not the way it worked. It was a 12-month contract. We started in July and finished in August. It took us a little bit longer than we would have liked. But from a social media standpoint, now you have this library. And this was kind of the deal with all of it, was these videos are timeless, and you're going to be able to use them. and use them. And they're on the YouTube channel. They also are directly uploaded to Facebook. We live in a social media world that changes every day. So we uploaded a lot of these videos directly to Facebook. So when you're scrolling through and it starts playing, that's a Facebook video. Think we can time that? I could time Chris's, actually. I think we will do that. But I want to be able to, I wanted the parks to have these videos, the Parks Department to have these videos that they would share regularly, especially the parks, the specific parks, and how you can tie it to the mobile app. Because if you don't, then they're not going to do you any good. You know, you've spent the money, you've made the investment. My recommendation is you find a way to integrate them into not just the Parks Department, but wherever you can that promotes the city of Jeffersonville. So yeah, so let's pull that up so you can watch Chris's. We did a series of videos called We Are Jeff, and had a really cool campaign with that, featured some neat people. And this is one that I am super proud of. His name is Chris Wilton. He is from Clarksville and has moved to Jeffersonville. He actually started working with our company this year in our online auction division. Here we go. Look, Vicki, you're awesome. All right, let's see if I can time it. The words may not be exact, but it'll be close.
My name is Chris Wilton. I'm proud to be a local. The reason I'm so passionate about Jeffersonville is I'm excited about the new things that are coming to the downtown area. I grew up in Clarksville and recently, within the past 3 years, moved to Jeffersonville, and I'm just really excited about how the downtown is becoming more vibrant and the accessibility is great. There are handicap parking spots at the end of each block. The Big Four Station Park is all accessible. The walking bridge is accessible. I really enjoy talking to my grandmother about the way that Spring Street and downtown Jeffersonville are coming back to life. It's a lot more like when she was a child. She and my grandfather told me stories about how they could just come down to Spring Street and spend the whole day. They could go to Shimp's and then go catch a double feature at the Dream Theater or the LaRose Theater, how vibrant it was downtown. To see more videos in this series, like us on Facebook. I'm Chris Wilton, and I'm proud to be a local.
So the majority of the people that we videoed are local people that love living here, that want to be a part of Jeffersonville. Somebody asked me the other day what type of video I produce, and I told them anything that is not, the music will play all night long. Anything that's non-political for me, because I enjoy showing a side of our city that a lot of times doesn't get seen. We live in a world with tons of negative media, and I'm like, I want to highlight all of the positive, good things that the city is doing every day. And this video project allowed us to do that. And if you like, we have a direct link to every video that we've done, and I'd be more than glad to create an email list and send it to all of you all, so you've got a direct YouTube link to it, and feel free to use that and share. This is one of the extra videos that we did that I was real proud of the way it looked and the way it came out, and it's the last one I have. But there are over 60 or 70 total. Does this have music? It does have music. Everything we did had music. But this just was a really cool video in the fact that it captured local people coming together and celebrating something as small as a banner that was on top of the flood wall. And I really liked that. I thought that was cool.
Who's that?
Right there.
That's Mr. Hollywood.
What's your YouTube channel?
This YouTube channel is under Jeff Riverstage. If you go to my website, lincolncrum.com, there's a direct link to my YouTube channel with all of our work. We've produced since '09 probably 1,000 YouTube videos, and all of them are positive, not one negative video. That's probably the thing I'm the most proud of. I like that closing shot.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that was the opening shot to the commercial, the first one that we did. So, you know, if you have any questions, that always makes me laugh. The Branham Tabernacles SEO is tied somehow to close to all of the Jeff videos that play. I don't know why, I don't know how. But if you, yeah, they are Jeffersonville. If you have any questions, I'm as easy to get a hold of as Facebook or social media, or just come down to 410 Wall. But on behalf of our little company, and this really had a huge impact on our company and our lives. Tammy, who works for me, did a fabulous job producing it, and Kyle shooting all the video. He actually crashed one of the drones while he was flying. It was one of the last parks we did, and he was flying, and some spider or something got on him, and he went like that, and the drone just crashed. And he was almost in tears, which made me proud that he knew how valuable something was, right? And but he didn't miss a beat. We got another one, and we got in there and got it done and finished. But you know, I just appreciate the opportunity. The reason why I asked to speak to the city council was because I know that the board, the Parks Board, has changed from last year, and the city council as a whole is the one that voted and approved the project, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I don't want to speak for the Parks Board, but I'd like to invite you to come and present your
I would love nothing
Very
more.
awesome.
And we'll make sure that the audio works
there you
that
go.
time, or
Yeah.
I'll bring
Yeah,
speakers,
we'll be
have little speakers.
We'll be upstairs, so.
We'll be good. I'd love to come present to them. You bet. We'll get together and get me on the agenda. I'm all about it.
Thank you. And
You're welcome.
I did have one question. How easily is the app updated? Is that something that will be accessible to the folks in the office upstairs, or?
My recommendation is probably work with Christina. I told her once I got done with the project and coordinated who needs to know what. The app's paid for the next 6 months. That was part of it.
Okay.
But it's pretty easy. She's right down here on Spring Street.
I know Christina
And,
well.
you know, they really were awesome to deal with. So I don't think it'll be a real problem. I tell you, the biggest thing with the app is you got to let people know that you got it.
Yeah.
And that is all through signage. I'd have a sign, download our app. We've already emailed a QR code to Paul and Sarah, along with a direct link for embedding wherever. But I would take that QR code and I put it on signage, and I put it in every park across the city. Encourage, drive people to do it. Drive people to use that app, because we all know, I mean, this is where everybody's going. Cool. Thank you all very much. I won't touch the microphone again, Vicki.
Ms. Conlon, 2016 OR something, an ordinance transferring funds?
Yeah, I guess I did.
What will the number be, Patsy?
It'd be 59, I think. I'm trying to get this. What this is what I talked about earlier. We actually, I need around, I think it's, this amount, $6,594, because the claim was on the claims list, no, it'll be on next claims list for travelers, and I wanted to be able to at least get started on this so we could, you all would approve it at the next meeting. Yeah. So it is for the $6,594. I have in the back, I had showed you on a sheet kind of everything that had happened. If you see the GL, if you look here at the 914, the workers' comp, I put that in at $102,794. So the end balance of everything we paid is $433,593.47. And like I said too, I went through and we have, with the next claim coming through, we will have paid travelers for the year. So there will not be another quarterly payment. And I think the total on that was around 1.2 or 1.25, something like that. So I'm asking for first and second reading if possible.
I'll make a motion to approve in the first and second reading 2016 OR 59.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Heather Metcalf, 2016 OR 60, I assume.
This is a new additional appropriation request. The first one is the street and sanitation sold a bunch of their equipment on the gov deals, and this is reappropriating some of the monies that they received for that sale into vehicles. And then also for down in sanitation, you'll see the environmental fees in the vehicles down there. So that's part to get I think they were wanting a salt truck and to go with that. So that's revenue that we've received. The unsafe building request is appropriating cash that they already have in their fund. That cash comes from weed liens and demolition and things like that. And then the last one is from the Capital Improvement Reserve Fund for the Building Commission, and that's for carpet on the second and third floor. And that's appropriating cash that they already have.
So no additional general fund dollars.
Correct.
And the motor vehicle and sanitation monies are monies that we have receipted in?
Yes.
Does anybody else have any questions or?
60.
Yes. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 2016 OR 60 on the first and second.
I'll second.
Motion to approve on the first and second. Anything further? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney report? Nothing, Mr. Lewis. Are there any department heads that would like to speak? No? Public comment, were there any?
Yes, we have one signed up.
Okay. Pat Barrow. Ms. Barrow, if you would just say your name and address for the record, and then after you do that, you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'm Pat Barrow. I live at 1800 Dutch Lane. I have here something that I gave the last city council, but this is a new one, so I'd like to pass this out.
We can pass them down so you don't have to take up your 3 minutes.
I paused her. Thank you.
What I've given you is an environmental report that has been done that concerns MAC Asphalt. And on the very front, you're going to see where MAC Asphalt sits in comparison to residential areas. And for the last 10 years, we've been doing our best just to simply get our rights taken care of, our constitutional rights to get them before a zoning board. And so we continue to do that. The city has supported us, and I just want to be here to thank you for that and let you know it's an ongoing situation, and anything that the city council might be able to do to assist us would be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions, most of this you'll see in page that I have marked gives you the list of the contaminants that go into the air. MAC is allowed to put in 100 tons of hazardous material into the air, which would include things like arsenic, chromium, cobalt, lead, magnesium, mercury, nickel. And this is what we're subjected to every time that they're cooking. And if it's not Jefferson Court, the retirement community I live in, it can be North Haven, or it can be one of the little neighborhoods off Plank Road or around Walnut Ridge. But at each time that exposure comes out, IDEM has cited them 6 times, and so we know that it's an issue. And I do appreciate it. We're still working on it and actually observing, because the city, Mayor Moore pulled the permit for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, which brought us to a point now that maybe we'll get them before the zoning board. And that's all we've ever asked, is just to have them come before the zoning board in a fair playing field for everyone.
Who got,
Just real quick, not to interrupt you, but Mr. Merkley just advised that there's still pending litigation between Mac and the city, so it would be advisable, because this is pending litigation, not to really comment or have any discussion about Mac. This is pending litigation. Mr. Merkley.
so I can't ask the question,
Well-
who compiled this report under
Well,
whose?
I was just, yeah, I just wanted,
That's all I was-
before we got into any other discussions specifically regarding Mac and any merits of the case.
I was just curious, I think it says Herschel and
Environmental.
Who commissioned them to compile this report? Was this,
This was done on our behalf of the neighborhood. And so I thought that would give you more education about what we're dealing with, and feel free to call me, or you know me, so let me know if I can be of any assistance, but I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other public comment. Council comment, Mr. White,
No comment.
Mr. Zastani,
No comment?
Ms. Yon,
No comment.
Ms. Gill,
no comment?
Mr. H.
I'd like to send an invitation. On the 23rd, the doors open at 4:30, and the debate will begin at 5 o'clock. The JHS debate team actually gets congressional candidates to come and debate. And they are having an open forum, a town hall type meeting, and that begins at 5 o'clock. You're free to wear your campaign gear. It'll be moderated by students. There is a kind of a Republican club student going to ask questions to the Republican candidate, Mr. Hollingsworth, and a Democratic club student will be kind of leading the discussion for the Democratic candidate. It'll be a very interesting forum. They do an absolutely fantastic job with this, and they're really expecting kind of a packed house. The last time they did this, it was very well done, you would have thought like professionals orchestrated this event. So they do a great job, and it's free to come in. You're free to wear your campaign gear, and then you may even be asked to pose questions.
Can you repeat the date and time?
It's the 23rd, and the door opens at 4:30, and it should begin around 5 o'clock
Sit in the auditorium there.
in the auditorium. And so you'd enter down by near on the gym side, near the gym, on the opposite side of the building. It's marked auditorium.
Councilperson, do they have a flyer or something that they're going to have? If they could send me something, we could put it on your all's Facebook page.
I will do that. I don't know if they do or not, but I will
I
sure
think I
find out.
saw one circulating today.
Yeah, I did too. Now that you
So
mention
it's
it.
out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure to extend that invitation.
Okay. Mr. Samuel?
I just want to thank Mr. Merkley for agreeing to try to correct the issues with the visa bills. I know one of the things that I heard was we as a council multiple times have asked the finance department to make sure before the claims get to us, they must be valid claims. And they're getting here and they're not valid claims. And when I talk to the finance department, the impression I get is they say it's not within my authority to tell another department head what to do. So I appreciate you getting that resolved.
Mr. Rodriguez?
I think everybody here got an email about the all-in-one block party. So we'd like to extend that invitation to the preservation station from 11 to 1. It'll be interesting. Lunchtime, afternoon. Everybody can make it.
Something on
I think they've got somebody doing the advertising.
Okay.
Oh, October 1st, sorry. From a grant from the Indiana Humanities that Jan already got.
Anything further? Just wanted to say thanks, Major Lynch, for being here. We appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us on Monday nights. And then also thank you, everybody, for voting in support of getting 8th Street taken care of. I know a lot of people had that on their minds, so it's going to be another good thing. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We're adjourned.